Alex from the Starcom Intergalactic Info team here to talk to you about the upcoming rockcracker operations update for Star Citizen. Star Citizen continues to expand its gameplay loops, and one of the most interesting additions expected in Alpha 4.7 is something called rockcracker operations. At first, many players assumed this would simply be another mining update. But the concept behind rockcracker operations is actually much bigger than that. Instead of just adding new rocks to mine or new mining equipment, this update appears to introduce a completely new type of activity that blends multiple gameplay systems together. Rockcracker operations are built around large abandoned mining facilities known as breaker stations. These stations were originally constructed as part of large-scale industrial mining operations. Their purpose was to crack open massive asteroids and extract the valuable resources hidden inside. Over time, many of these facilities have been abandoned or left in a damaged state. Some of them may now be controlled by hostile NPC forces, while others are simply inactive from past mining operations. The idea behind rockcracker operations is that players will travel to one of these stations and work to reactivate it, but bringing a massive mining facility back online is not a simple task. Before the station can begin cracking open the asteroid, players will first need to explore the structure and restore key systems. This might include activating power generators, repairing equipment, or accessing control systems. At the same time, players may encounter hostile enemies that have taken over parts of the station. They also introduce elements of combat and exploration. In many ways, these locations resemble dungeon-style missions. Players will move through corridors, industrial areas, and mining infrastructure while completing objectives and clearing threats. The idea here is that it will create a much more dynamic gameplay experience compared to the traditional mining contracts. Once the necessary systems have been restored and the station is operational, the facility's massive mining laser can then be activated to crack open the asteroid itself. This process fractures the asteroid and creates a large opening in the rock. Inside the asteroid, players will discover a hollow interior filled with valuable mineral deposits, which is where the mining aspect begins. Players can bring mining ships such as the Prospector or the Mole to extract these resources. Because the asteroid has been opened up by the breaker station, miners now have direct access to the materials hidden inside. I think this creates an interesting gameplay loop because it covers exploration, combat, and industrial gameplay. CIG have combined multiple professions into a single activity where you'll have combat players helping clear the station and industrial players focusing on activating systems and running the mining equipment. This type of cooperative gameplay is something that Star Citizen appears to be slowly moving towards, with many of the game's future systems being designed around the idea that different roles will work together, and I think rockcracker operations is the first step towards this. Some rockcracker locations may exist as mission-based activities, others might be contested locations where multiple groups compete for control of the resources. This is similar to some extent to some of the content we already have, but opens up another avenue for the race to control valuable resources. In the long term, this kind of activity could play a role in Star Citizen's developing economy, and with crafting soon to be introduced, it might play a bigger role than we might think. As development continues towards Alpha 4.7, we will likely learn more about how these locations function. It will be interesting to see if these locations vary in size and the effort required to ensure we don't end up with repetitive gameplay. From what we know so far, it looks like a promising step forward for industrial gameplay in Star Citizen as it introduces new locations to explore. It seems to encourage cooperation between players, and it looks to create large-scale mining opportunities that should hopefully feel more cinematic and immersive. We won't know much more until Alpha 4.7 arrives, but if the concept delivers on its potential, rockcracker operations could be a major step forward. Personally, I'm excited for this update, especially as it gets us closer to crafting, but let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. Thank you for listening and see you next time.